A very good morning, children. We are reading the story of Boli. So, in first part, what happened? I just want to recollect that. Okay, let us know what happened in Boli's story. In part one, Boli was a young girl, and when she was 8 months baby, she fell down from the cot and got injured, and then because of that, he was very slow in everything. That's why they called as Boli, the simpleton. And then when she was 2 years old, smallpox came to her, and then her face was full of poke marks. Okay, so because of that, she was not at all beautiful. So when her father had seven children, three brothers Boli had, and three elder sisters. So three brothers, they were going for further sit down to have further education, and girls did not go to school because there is no school in that village. So when her second sister got married, the primary school was open in that village, and Tahsildar came to open the for the opening ceremony, and he asked Boli's father, Ramlal, to join her daughters in that school and be a role model. Then he went and told his wife, and wife said, "No, that's not possible because in those days, girls were never used to go to school because it was difficult to get a proper bridegroom for them." So he refused. Then she also suggested him telling that you better send Boli to that school. And anyway, she had poke marks and nobody would marry her. And the teachers will, she's very slow, and the teachers will take care of her. So Vishwambar was took her to school, and she felt really very happy. The teacher spoke to her very well. The teacher encouraged her very well, and the teacher told her that your stammering will not be there when you are well educated. Now read this book, and afterwards I will give you the bigger book, and then still bigger book. And people who are laughing when you are talking, they will just listen to you. So please do come to school regularly. And she felt really very happy listening to all that because she came to know that her stammering was going to be, she was going to keep a big full stop for her stammering, and she would be talking like all others. So now, in this part, let us see what we are going to read. Why do Boli's parents accept Bishamba's marriage proposal, and why does the marriage not take place? So thus, years passed. So Boli was not a small 7-year-old girl now. Many years over, and the village became a small town, and the little primary school became a high school, and there was now a cinema under a tin shed and a cotton grinding mill. The mail train began to stop at their railway station. So the small village became a small town now. The primary school became a high school, and there was a cinema hall, and then there was a cotton grinding mill. Grinding mill means where they separate the seeds and from the cotton and all that. So, and even the mail train also will stop there in that village, that town now. Okay, then what happened one night after dinner? Ramlal said to his wife, "Then shall I accept Shamba's proposal?" "Yes, certainly," his wife said. "Boli will be lucky to get such a well-to-do bridegroom, a big shop, a house of his own, and I hear several thousand in the bank. Moreover, he is not asking for any dowry." So he is not asking for any dowry, and he was a well-to-do bridegroom. He had a big shop and even a house on his own, and then even bank balance is there. What else anybody wants? Let us give him Boli. Then that's right. But he is not of young, it's not so young, almost the same age as I am. And he also limps. Moreover, the children from his first wife are quite grown up. So that is second marriage. And first wife children were really grown up. And he is almost the age of Ramlal, Boli's father. Then look at what the mother is telling. "So, what does it matter?" His wife replied, "45 or 50, it is not great age for a man. We are lucky that he is from another village and does not know about her poke marks, and her lack of sense. If we don't accept this proposal, she may remain unmarried all her life. So 45 or 50 doesn't matter. Let us give her in the marriage, because if it is lucky that he is from another village and he did not know about the poke marks. If he knew about that, he would not have accepted to marry Bholi. Yes, but I wonder what will Bholi say? What will that witless one say? She is like a dumb cow. She can't say anything. She doesn't have any wits. So don't worry about it. Then father said, maybe you are right. So in that way, somewhere you feel that the father was not little happy about this proposal. So in the other corner of the courtyard, Boli lay awake on her cot, listening to his parents' whispered conversation. So Boli came to know about that. Bishambar Nath was a well-to-do grocer. He came with a big party of friends and relatives with him for a wedding, and the brass band playing a popular tune from an Indian film headed the procession, with the bridegroom riding a decorated horse. Ramlal was overjoyed to see such a pomp and splendor. He had never dreamt that his fourth daughter would have such a grand wedding. Boli's elder sisters, who had come for the occasion, were envious of her luck. So this Pishambar came sitting on a well-decorated horse with all friends and relatives, and brass band playing Hindi film song, and even the sisters were also started feeling envious of Boli, who was going to get a good, well-to-do, economically sound man. And then um, Ramlal did not think that Boli's marriage would be celebrated in such a grand way. So when the auspicious moment came, the priest asked, bring the bride. So now Boli is going to come to the marriage place. Boli, clad in a red silken bridal dress, was led to bride's place near the sacred. Garland the bride, one of the friends prompted Vishambarnath, and the bridegroom lifted the garland of yellow marigold, and a woman slipped back the silken veil from the bride's face. Vishambar took a quick glance. The garland remained poised in his hand. He did not keep the garland on Boli. It's just he was poised in his hand, is there in his hand only. The bride slow pulled down the veil over her face. So when he did not keep the garland, the girl, whoever the bride, pulled the veil on her face. Have you seen her? Bishambar to his friend next. Bishambar's friend was there next to him. He asked, Bishambar asked, did you see her? Did you see her poke marks on her face? So what? You are not young either. Maybe, but if I am to marry her, her father must give me 5,000 rupees. Ramlal went and placed his turban, his honor, at Bishambar's feet. Do not humiliate me so. Take 2,000 rupees. No, 5,000. Or we go back. Keep your daughter. Be a little considerate. Please, if you go back, I can never show my face in the village. Then out with 5,000. Tears screaming round the face, Ramlal went in, opened the safe, counted out the notes. He placed the bundle at the bride's bedroom's feet. So he requested, please don't do that. Take 2,000 rupees. I'm ready to give you 2,000 rupees. And he said, no, I want 5,000 rupees. Then um, Bishambar, Bholi, his father, Ramlal, was left with no other option. Then he told, if you don't want to give me 5,000 rupees, keep your daughter with you only. Then Ramlal went into the house, opened the safe and counted the money, and came in, kept that money near the feet of Bishambar. Now what happened? On Bishambar's greedy face appeared a triumph smile. Yes, victory is visible in his face. He had gambled and won. It was just a gambling and he won. Give me the garland, he announced. Once again, the veil was slipped back from the bride's face, but this time her eyes were not downcast. She was not looking down. She was looking up, looking straight at her prospective husband, the rich husband who could get 5,000 rupees. and in her eyes there was neither anger nor hate nor any contempt. So she was looking straight into Vishambar's face, not looking down, but there was no anger, there was no hatred, and there was only contempt. Vishamba raised the garland to place it around Boli's neck, bride's neck. But before he could do that, bride's hand stuck out like a streak of lightning, and the garland was flung into the fire. So she just pushed that garland, moved her hand like a lightning, and the garland in his hand fell in the fire. She got up and threw away the veil. And then she told, Pitaji, said Boli in a clear, loud voice, and her father, mother, sisters, brothers, relations, and neighbors were startled to hear her speak without even the slightest stammer. Pitaji, take back your money. I am not going to marry this man. So Boli told very clearly that she was not going to marry that man. Look at that. Look at the way she was shouting at Bishambar. Look at the way the garland fell there in the fire. She was telling, I am not going to marry this man. Showing the finger, she was telling that. Ramlal was thunderstruck. The guest began to whisper, so shameless, so ugly, and so shameless. Boli was, are you crazy? Shouted Ramlal. You want to disgrace your family? Have some regard for our izzat. So show some respect for regard for our respect. For the sake of your izzat, for the sake of your respect, I was willing to marry this lame old man. But I will not have such a mean, greedy, and contemptible coward as my husband. I won't, and I won't. So she was ready to marry that man, though he was lame, just because of the izzat of his father. But now I don't want to be the wife of such a mean, greedy, and contemptible coward. No, I don't want to marry him. She told very clearly her opinion. What a shameless girl. We all thought she was harmless dumb cow. Burley turned violently on the old woman who was telling all these things. Yes, auntie, you are right. You all thought I was a dumb driven cow. That's why you wanted to hand me over to this heartless creature. But now the dumb cow, the stammering fool, is speaking. Do you want to hear more? So you thought I'm a cow, so you want to give me to another dumb, to another heartless creature, another animal. But I'm not a dumb cow. I'm not stammering now. I'm speaking. Do you want to listen to me now? Vishambarnath, the grocer, started to go back with his party. The confused brandsman thought that was the end of the ceremony and stuck by the closing song. Ramlal stood rooted to the ground, his head bowed low with way of grief and shame. He was really feeling very sad. The flames of the sacred fire slowly died down. Everyone was gone. Ramlal turned to Boli and said, But what about you? No one will ever marry you now. What shall we do with you? And Sulekha said in a voice that was calm and steady. So she was not now Boli. She is Sulekha. So she was speaking in a very calm and steady voice. Don't you worry, Pitaji. In your old age, I will serve you and mother, and I will teach in the same school where I learned so much. Isn't that right, ma'am? So she was looking at her teacher who came to the marriage and who was looking everything. So she asked, Isn't that right, teacher? And the teacher, with the teacher had all along stood in the corner watching the drama. Yes, Boli, of course, she replied very happily, and in her smiling face was the light of a deep satisfaction that an artist feels when contemplating the completion of her masterpiece. When artists, after drawing the beautiful drawing, when they look at that, then it came very well. The kind of satisfaction, that kind of contemplation, that kind of feeling what the good painter will get is clearly visible in the face of her teacher, because she, whatever she wanted in Boli, she could see that Boli Now, see, education plays a very important role in our day-to-day life, children. So in this COVID period, you have to get along with your weaknesses and be strong and be learn. Continue your education. Don't give up. Don't think the teachers are not there in front of you and you can do whatever you want. No, you are reading that for your sake. Okay, children? And complete all the question and answers, whatever are there after this, and also write about the role played by education in our day-to-day life. Okay, how is it going to change everybody's character?